Maybe you just FaceTime everybody for Thanksgiving. It might be easier. It's Prospector Show on Rock 107. And Kate, AAA expects record numbers of Americans to hit the road for Thanksgiving.
I feel like they say that every year.
Sure.
But they're expecting just under 80 million people to head out this year, up from around 78 million last year.
Okay.
72 million will drive.
Sure.
5.8 million will fly.
Okay.
And 2.3 million will take buses, trains, and other modes of transportation.
Yeah, I'm going to go by canoe. That's my other mode of transportation.
Sure, man. The best day to drive is next Thursday. There's usually not a ton of traffic on Thanksgiving itself.
Now, maybe you want to fly.
Sure, but then you got to wait in lines all day. Want to speed up your experience at the airport this holiday season?
Of course.
Sure you do.
But first, let's bog you down with lots of paperwork and see if a government website will let you successfully complete the application online.
Don't let long lines ruin your Thanksgiving travel. With TSA PreCheck, you can skip the wait and get a head start on your holiday. TSA PreCheck is easy. Find our online application and just answer a few simple questions like, what's your name, address, height and weight, occupation, income, social security number, children's names, favorite Kardashian, passwords, blood type, whereabouts last Tuesday.
Darkest fantasies.
Big Brother is watching.
TSA PreCheck. Do it today.
News that's already broken. It's time for Prospector's Briefs on Rock 107.
Iconic comedian Dick Smothers turns 86 today. If you want to learn more about him, do a Google search of Dick Smothers, but filter out the thousands of results from porn sites. Carrot producer Grimway Farms issued a recall of its carrots after they're suspected of containing a potentially deadly E. coli bacteria. Speaking of carrots you should avoid, does Carrot Top still have a Vegas residency? A Friday Night Live reboot is in the works. Until then, fans of amateur football in Texas have the Dallas Cowboys.
It's 60 Minutes meets Gone in 60 Seconds. Tune in tomorrow for Prospector's Briefs on Rock 107.
You probably don't know me, but odds are you feel bad for me. You see, I'm Prospector's wife, Tara. I know what you're thinking. Oh, that poor woman. The truth is, he's the sweetest guy. Most of the time. But when he starts rambling, yeah, you have no idea. It's actually far worse than you can imagine. In fact, here's a little taste of my world. It's time for Prospector's Picky Pet Peeves on Rock 107.
You know, I don't know how many times you have to hear it or how many times I got to say it, but the phrase is, I couldn't care less. Not, I could care less. You say it when you absolutely do not care about something. So if you say, I could care less, that actually indicates you care to some degree because, hey, you could care less. There is a lesser amount that you could care. However, if you say the proper phrase, I couldn't care less, that means you don't care at all, which is the feeling you're attempting to convey.
Seriously?
For some reason, it drives me crazy when people ask me, can I ask you a question? Too late, buddy. All right? You cannot ask that without already asking me a question. So how about we skip the preamble and you just get to the actual question? What am I, so important that you can't be questioning me? Come on.
All right.
And this is a note to the lady getting off the 4th floor of the Times building on Friday on the elevator. Hey, thanks for pushing 1 as you got off the elevator and looked at me waiting to get on dead in the eye, thereby sending the elevator all the way back to 1 while I was wanting to go up. Yeah, that's why I pushed the up button. Not sure if you're aware of this, but the elevator will go back to 1 all on its own if no one else is using it. So there's no need for you to force it to go back down when you exit. Thanks for screwing me, yambag.
Good Lord. You think that was bad? Try living with him. Love you, honey. Mean it.
Were you locked out of the Tyson-Paul fight because Netflix was completely unprepared to handle the amount of streams that it should have completely, totally expected? It's Prospector Show on Rock 107. Good morning, I'm Prospector.
Good morning, I'm Kate. Luckily, you didn't miss anything even remotely exciting.
Mike Tyson, 57 years old, fighting Jake Paul, America's most punchable influencer. It's not a fight, it's a midlife crisis versus like Gen Z cringe. It's less Thriller and Manila and more in Texas.
But you didn't know that while you were sitting there for hours watching that blank or frozen screen.
I mean, yeah, you're there, you're ready to see Tyson and Paul, two of America's most confusing life choices, slug it out. And instead, you're watching the spinning wheel buffering like it's on Ambien or just a black screen.
Netflix has acknowledged that some members had a bad experience, but they still consider the event a huge success.
Okay.
They claim 108 million people watched the so-called fight.
Some members had a bad experience. Some, half the planet was watching a frozen screen like it was modern art. Meanwhile, Netflix is patting itself on the back going, well, we had 108 million viewers. Yeah, 107 of them were screaming, come on, at the TV screen.
Well, there's something you can do about it.
Yay.
A Florida man named Ronald Blue Denton has filed a class action lawsuit calling Netflix's failure legendary. He's suing for breach of contract and other offenses and is seeking unspecified damages.
Legendary failure. Now, first of all, legendary, I take issue with him using it in that way because it means, a story that you don't know all the details and you can't prove it. But whatever. Legendary failure, it's kind of phrase you associate with the Titanic hitting the iceberg. But you know what? I'm rooting for Blue, Kate. I am. Yeah, because Netflix made a promise. They said, hey, pay us and we'll deliver Tyson versus Paul. What they delivered was me sitting on my couch, cursing the heavens, and eventually settling for rewatching Bridgerton. Ugh. So let's hope he wins, because if Netflix keeps up this crap, we're all going to end up like a retired boxer, punch drunk, and wondering where our money went. The song that had a cool, different arrangement on Dancing with the Stars last night. My wife made me watch it. It's Prospector Show on Rock 107. But you know what? I love it.
I was going to say, she makes you watch it, but I know you enjoy it, so who cares?
Let's put it this way. She made me watch it the first maybe 1 or 2 times I watched it, and now I'm like, what a great show.
It's so fun.
It's just so entertaining. And that's one of those things, sometimes, you don't understand what the other person's thinking, and then you experience something, and you're like, oh my gosh.
And it feels good to be inside your wife's head sometimes, doesn't it?
We need to be in each other's head more often. Let's start with the ladies on Rock 107.
And time for another episode of 1 Minute Inside a Woman's Head.
I can't believe his parents are staying with us the entire Thanksgiving weekend. Haven't they heard of hotels? I don't get why anyone would want to stay with relatives when they could stay in a clean, fancy room with miniature lotions and shampoos that you can take home. I guess they could leave with his medicated shampoo. But I don't think that's as elegant. His mom always showers for at least half an hour and uses all the hot water. And every year is the same. I forgot my razor. Could you get me one of yours? 45 minutes later, I get my razor back, and the tub is covered with little hairs. Does she only shave on holidays? The thing about other people's parents is that they make you appreciate your parents. Oh, no. That's right. My parents are coming, too. I should cancel Thanksgiving.
And that was another episode of 1 Minute Inside a Woman's Head.
Now, if you hear that and you think, well, there it is, there's Rock 107's Prospector. He's some kind of, just a male chauvinist pig. Kate, not the case, right?
That is not the case, Prospector.
All right, we'll prove it. We'll make fun of the men after the break. Sweating the possibility of the dreaded snow word Thursday into Friday morning. Good morning. It's Prospector Show on Rock 107. And Kate, did you know Rock 107 and Gertrude Hawk are celebrating 40 years of Smidgens?
Oh, I absolutely did, Prospector. So we're giving away a box of Smidgens a day for 40 days with something that we're calling, believe it or not, 40 days of Smidgens.
Now you can enter the daily keyword, once we tell you what it is, to Rock 107 at 1-888-ROCK 107. That's 1-888-762-5107.
Today's keyword is white.
You enter that, you could win. Just before the commercials, we spent a whole minute in a woman's head.
I think it's time to make fun of the men.
And now it's time for another episode of A Few Seconds Inside a Man's Head.
My parents are coming for the Thanksgiving weekend. They were going to get a room in a hotel, but I said, no way. You guys stay with us. Yep. Mom and Dad will be there all weekend long. Oh, no. What have I done?
And that was another episode of A Few Seconds Inside a Man's Head.
Life's pretty tough right now. There's plenty of bad news, but it's not all bad. It's time for the brighter side of Prospector on Rock 107.
Firefighters in Colorado used the jaws of life to save a stray kitten trapped in a dumpster. The kitten was stuck in the bottom with its head sticking out through a tiny hole. The kitten's fine, and an animal shelter took it in.
Thanks. We needed that. The brighter side of Prospector on Rock 107. Gather round the radio.
It's now time to announce the winner of Prospector's Jam Bag of the Day, as decided by you at rock107.com.
We uncover the most baffling, ridiculous, pathetic, cockeyed, laughable, preposterous blunders in the world of misdeeds. Nominee number 1.
The best part here is this guy didn't just get himself caught. A drug dealer in the United Kingdom got arrested after he left his bag of drugs on a train and then reported them missing. 30-year-old Jordan McKnight realized he'd left a bag of ketamine behind with a street value of around $50,000. So he and another dealer named Harley Hall tried to go back and get it, but the train was gone. That's when Jordan reported the bag missing, but didn't say what was in it. Turns out an employee had already found the drugs and called police. Cops tracked down Jordan, searched his phone, and found texts that showed Harley was involved, and they arrested him too. Then they kept digging and realized they'd been sneaking in drugs from Portugal and took down the entire drug ring. Jordan and Harley both got sentenced this month to 6 years in prison.
Nominee number 2.
Here's another story about drug dealers from the United Kingdom. This one could also knit you a sweater, I guess. A 49-year-old grandmother in England kept a number of cocaine wraps in her underwear for safekeeping. Carolyn Corcoran was arrested for breach of the peace, and when officers put handcuffs on her, they noticed she tensed up one hand, put her hand down her pants, pulled out several packets of white powder, and tried to throw them across the road. Police recovered the drugs and were found to be cocaine. Her lawyer claimed the drugs were for personal use. When asked why she takes cocaine, she said, well, everyone's got their poison.
And the winner is
the drug dealer who left his bag of drugs on a train, then reported the bag missing. You are the Yam Bag of the Day, and we'll move on to Friday's Yam Bag of the Week competition. Keep it here weekday mornings for all the nominees for Prospector's Yam Bag of the Day on Rock 107.
It's Prime Cuts Podcast. Be sure to catch us live weekdays from 5:30 to 10 a.m. on Rock 107 or online at rock107.com or the Rock 107 app. A free download for your Android or iPhone. Subscribe to the podcast on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher Radio, or wherever you get your podcasts so you never miss Prospector's Prime Cuts.